Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming off their second win of the season. They head north this week to face the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is currently installed as a 5.5-point favorite in this game on BETDAQ. The total has not yet been released. Now, we mentioned the Jags have only won 2 games. They're 2-9, one of the worst teams in the NFL. So it might surprise you to know that they've been the single best team in the NFL to back on the road this season. Jacksonville is 5-0 against the spread on the road. Now, they're only 1-4 in those games, so it has more to do with friendly lines than it does the Jags actually winning those games. Still, they're getting a healthy 5.5 points from the Bills here this week. You might say this is another friendly line for the Jaguars, especially since they've looked like a different team since Chad Henne has taken over for Blaine Gabbert at quarterback. You're talking about a team in Jacksonville that has had the worst offense in the NFL for 2 years running now, and they're still, even after 2 good offensive games in a row, they're still last in the NFL in total yards per game. But Blaine Gabbert had started at quarterback for 20-some-odd consecutive games before their last game. He was the man overseeing. Now, I'm not saying he was wholly responsible for it, but he was certainly overseeing that offense that was worst in the league. And the results, as soon as the quarterback change was made, when Gabbert was injured in the first quarter of their game against the Houston Texans two weeks ago, the results were instantaneous. Chad Henne ended up putting up 353 passing yards on that Texans defense, which was one of the best defenses in the NFL. And even though they lost that game, they put up 37 points, and they carried it over to last week, had a good game, actually won a game. They had lost their previous home games all by 17 points or more before that game last week, actually pulled out a win against the Tennessee Titans. So some positivity around this Jaguars franchise for the first time all season. They have had great success on the road this year. And Buffalo, they're coming off a heartbreaking loss to Indianapolis Colts. They had their chances to win that game, and that loss probably knocked them out of playoff contention. They're still mathematically in it at 4-7, but they need to win out and need a lot of good things to happen. So the Bills are probably not going to make the playoffs. So taking all those things into consideration, the Jags, might have some good feelings coming in here, might have a little momentum. Buffalo might have, the opposite of momentum. Buffalo might be a little disappointed, might be reeling after their loss last week and after a season that, has turned out to be extremely disappointing despite some high expectations. High expectations for the Buffalo Bills are a little unusual, and I guess the expectations weren't really high for the Bills coming into this season, but I think most people expected them to be better than they have been, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They spent a lot of money in the offseason to upgrade this defense, most notably with the signing of Mario Williams, but also 4 out of the first 5 draft picks on defense. They signed defensive end Mark Anderson, who's had little or no production this season. I mean, it hasn't worked out. Buffalo's been terrible on defense this season, as usual, just like they've been the last couple of years. And again, they're 4-7, so a lot of things you might say might be pointing towards a Jacksonville play here, but I don't like it. I do like Buffalo minus 5.5 in this game. I think the Bills are just a better team. I know the Jags have caught lightning in a bottle here over the last couple of weeks, and I think it's great. They finally scored some points, and there's a little bit of positivity around the franchise. But still, when you look at it, when you look at them on offense, because they have a bad defense. They're 31st in the NFL in total defense. They've been bad all year. They've been bad for the last couple of weeks, even while the offense has woke up. But when you look at that offense, because if you're betting on the Jags here, if you like the Jags' chances this week in Buffalo, your reasoning is probably mostly because of that offense, because you think, hey, they've been playing a lot better with Chad Henne under center. Buffalo has a bad defense. There's too many points in this situation, somewhere along those lines. But now that people have had a couple of weeks of tape on Chad Henne in this offense, you see that they're moving the ball. They've really been a pass-first offense over the last 2 weeks. And they've run the ball some with Rashad Jennings last week and Parmelee the week before. And he won't be playing this week. It will be Rashad Jennings. But Maurice Jones-Drew, their best running back, obviously one of the best running backs in the NFL, he will be out for this game. He has missed the last few weeks with a foot injury. And so the question is, do you trust the Chad Henne to Cecil Shorts combination, Chad Henne to Justin Blackmon, because that's what's been gaining the chunks of the yards for the Jags over the last couple of weeks. And I know Buffalo has a bad defense, so I guess there's no reason to have any faith in the Buffalo defense slowing them down, but I guess I'm not a full believer in the Chad Henne to Cecil Shorts, Chad Henne to Justin Blackmon, and that being an offense that's going to thrive in the NFL once people know it's coming and once people know what to expect. And I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but you have to think that Buffalo, in seeing the last couple of weeks of game tape and how many explosive passing plays of 20 yards or more the Jags have been able to create over the last couple of weeks, I mean, you have to think they know that's coming. They're going to try to defend that first. Now, Buffalo has known what a lot of teams are going to throw at them this year, and they haven't been able to stop a whole lot of anything. So maybe that'll be the case again on Sunday. But remember, Buffalo does have a pretty good offense. They have a top 10 rushing attack. C.J. Spiller has really come on in recent weeks. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I know, has been struggling a little bit, but I'm still a believer in Fitzpatrick. I believe he's an above-average quarterback in the NFL. Stevie Johnson, a legit number 1 wide receiver. We talked about the struggles the Jags have been having on defense this year. So I like Buffalo's chances here. I think they're going to score plenty on offense. And, I don't think they're going to shut down the Jacksonville offense, but I don't expect the Jacksonville offense to be going crazy, scoring any more than 20-24 in this game. So I do like Buffalo -5.5 at home on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars.